So, what, as you are as a missionary to the Indonesia, what do you think the first is a struggle that you're serving in Indonesia? Do you ever facing a struggle that when you're serving in Indonesia, what kind of struggle that you ever face?
Well, the first struggle is just the culture.
Culture.
Yeah, learning how Indonesians are, learning the language, and all that, because it was very different.
It's very different from
America.
Yes.
Yeah, and Indonesia, they're saying it's another world, and it is like going. It's like going to another world.
Yes.
And so the struggle was first of all to learn the language some, and also not always think that Indonesians were out to get me. Though I struggled with that at first. But as time wears on, you learn. It's called cultural shock. I went through it extreme. And so you struggle to get through that. But once you begin to get through it, then you feel very bad how the way you acted while you were going through it. But by God's grace, you do get through it. You need to read your Bible. You read your Bible even. I would normally just wind up reading my Bible at night. I'd read my Bible. I kept reading my Bible. I'd be very discouraged. But when each evening as I'd get my Bible out and I'd begin reading it, God had touched my heart. Okay, I brought you here. I'll ultimately see you through. And I called you to come here, so just be faithful with it. When I first went to Indonesia, I had a sick child. I wound up with a sick child that we couldn't get well. I moved into a house and they cut off all the electricity and everything. I didn't know how to get it. I had shipped some goods. I didn't know how to get them out. I didn't know how to get my visa. I put it into immigration. I wasn't going to see my passport for several months after that. So those were the kind of things I was struggling with. Little by little, God brings you out of that problem. And the Indonesian people are very helpful. Actually, lots of times they were trying to help me, and I thought, you can take it on. But later, you feel very bad about the way you acted and things like that. But you just thank God for His grace that He allowed you to go through. And when you come out on the other side, it's much easier.
Sir, for the second, do you have a vision to serve or a mission to serve? When you first time came to Indonesia, what is the very first vision and the very first mission that you came to your mind?
Well, we came to start churches. And we went to Indonesia with the desire that we would start churches there. So that was always my goal. Getting the language at first. There was an older missionary there when I was there, and he had some students. One of the students named Tom Bunan, he helped me. I would go with him, and he taught me how to visit. He taught me how to do those kind of things. And so learning to present the gospel in an Indonesian culture was more of a challenge also. But little by little, and ultimately, we started our first church. And it's always been that aim. Ultimately, we had churches, and then we were training men. And the training of men is a much more difficult part. And to actually, I probably wasn't completely prepared to train men continually. And the first group of men that came to us, they worked jobs and everything. So it was easy. They worked, and we just helped along. And we worked together when we would win people and things like that. But later, when we begin to have a lot of pastors that would send people in from the hinterland, those kind of students are much harder to train. Much harder.
Okay, sir, for next, why Indonesia?
Well, I felt God called me there. I actually planned to be a missionary to Mexico. And when I was in secular college, I was reading a magazine, That was back in 1965. And I read a magazine. At that time, Indonesia was having a lot of strife. What was called the G30S movement. And I began to read about all that. And I just said to God at that time, said, you know, God, I'd like to go to Indonesia. And the desire to come to Indonesia never left. So one day I just told the Lord, if you don't stop me, I'm going to go to Indonesia. And that's how I got there.
And as we know that Indonesia, now you already became an Indonesian citizen, that many people shocked from it. Many people didn't believe on it also. But now you are become an Indonesian citizen. And then, do you have any vision after that? After you became an Indonesian citizenship, do you have any kind of still a struggle or any kind of vision that you not yet achieved?
Yeah, I have a definite vision that I have not achieved, and it did go, part of that did go with becoming an Indonesian citizen. Now, in us becoming an Indonesian citizen, my wife is also an Indonesian citizen, and renouncing our American citizenship, you know, many people thought, well, that's huge. But, you know, for us, we didn't feel much change. I mean, we're still Americans. We just don't have any American citizenship, okay? But it was the opportunity to do some things in the ministry. And in particularly, to find a better way of training men so that when they feel called, that we can prepare them in such a way that they are confident not only of God's calling, but they're confident that God can deliver and will provide in their own life, that they've had some experience at that, so they can go out and they won't be as dependent upon foreign money, and they won't become dependent people. They'll be independent livers, but they'll be dependent upon God. And that's my goal right now, to train them to be independent, to live independently in this world, to know God's going to take care of them. And that when they have God's calling, then also to know it does not matter where God sends them or where they want to go, that God will provide for them. And not only that, that they can build a church in any place. And not build a church that's dependent on others, but solely dependent upon the people that God gives them.
Sir, what's the struggle, or what is the first time when you, the feeling when you are out of your safe zone and then you became a full minister in the ministry? What is the feeling?
You know, for me, there wasn't any special feeling. I wanted to be a minister.
Amen.
Yeah, I wanted to be. So I think it's more the idea that you're working toward a goal.
Yes.
And there are times that you may have to focus on some other things. But ultimately the goal is that God would use your life to win people to the Lord, to train them, to establish them into churches, and that those churches can actually multiply themselves on their own. And so I don't think I've ever really, there's never been, I wanted to be a minister, and it's always been a joy to be a minister.
What do you want to speak about? What do you want to suggest for us, for both of us as a young minister, that what do you want? What do you dream of us to be a mission, for a mission? What do you want to speak for a mission?
Well, I would say, first of all, make sure you have a call. If God has called you, then you have the enabling. God's calling is God's enabling. Secondly, you need to prove that calling. You need to prove that God can take care of you in your life. There's things you should do. It may be that even while you're in Bible college, you may have opportunities to do ministries. Prove yourself. Step out and do things that you're not capable really of doing, and prove that God will give you the grace Prove God about finances. Know that you can trust Him for finances in your life, and that you'll use finances properly. That you'll be a person of honesty and integrity, so that you can develop leadership in that area. So that ultimately you can stand in front of your people, and when they're ready to leave you, you can say, look, follow me. I'm going to follow Christ, and we'll build this church together.
As the Bethany teams now, what do you think from it, and what is the message that you want to speak to the young people as the team is now? And then Pastor Namri also telling us that now is the time to go out. It's for a mission also. What do you want to speak out from that?
Well, now is the thing. You can't always be thinking of later.
Yes.
We don't have tomorrow.
Yes.
So we have to do what we can.
Yes.
And even if you're in a formative stage, stay with it. Now is the time. It may be a preparation time, but now is the time to let God use your life. God can use our life at any time. And so now is always the most important thing. Each day you say, God, use my life. Help me to be a better minister. Help me to learn. Help me to show me, dear Lord, what I should be doing right. I think those are the things. Now is just always the big question. It's not about later. Later I want to do this. Well, it's the step that you have to say. It's good to have a goal. But right now you should be thinking, what steps should I take to reach that goal? There are baby steps, there are big steps. But we should be saying, okay, I have a goal. I know what I'm going to do. Or if you aren't sure of what you're going to do, pick out something and say, this is what I'm going to do. And God can change your mind. Say, I was going to go to Mexico. But God can change your mind. God can deliver you into all of those things. So just look at it and say, okay, how do I get to my goal? What do I do now so that when I continue to go tomorrow, I can take another step? I'm working towards something. You got to work towards something. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Sir, for the last question is, what do you want to give an advice for the young missionaries that may be watching now, that they are thinking, maybe they want to think about Indonesia? What do you want to tell about them?
Come.
Come.
Come. Just come.
Just come.
Yeah.
And God will provide everything for you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. God will provide.